A baby in Mississippi was born with HIV, and within 30 hours of birth, a cocktail of 3 antiretroviral drugs were administered and worked effectively, pushing her virus down to what's called undetectable levels. At 2.5 years old, the baby girl is doing well with no signs of the virus, making her functionally cured. For some, to be functionally cured means the virus is not entirely gone, but it's not doing any damage either. Like many people, HIV and AIDS are not treated until way after detection, thereby decreasing chances to be functionally cured. According to a 2012 study by the World Health Organization, global estimates found 34 million people living with HIV and 1.7 million died from AIDS-related causes. Although the death rate has decreased in recent years, infection rate continues to rise. The baby girl being functionally cured is just one example of the benefits of being proactive about health. It is important to not only take precaution to avoid getting HIV, but also to get tested regularly as a precautionary measure. HIV and AIDS are amongst the leading causes of death globally. Early detection and treatment of HIV can save millions of lives, and is crucial that our healthcare system take all preventative measures. In order to realize the benefits of early detection and treatment of HIV/AIDS, let's first go into depth of what HIV/AIDS does and how we got to where we are in treatment. Next, we'll discuss how treatment works, and finally, examine the future drawbacks and benefits of treatment for what the 2013 New England Journal of Medicine calls the AIDS epidemic. As just a quick recap of what HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, does, the virus attacks T cells or CD4 cells, which are needed to fight off infection and disease. When all these cells have been infected and destroyed, the immune system is severely damaged, and the virus is now considered AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency virus. First, we will discuss the failed attempts of different combinations of medicine and discontinued treatment, and how it led to the success of early treatment and the drugs administered to halt the virus. Tom Bethel states in his review, The Cure That Failed, that reservoir syrup named AZT is what caused the death of many HIV/AIDS patients in the 90s. What started off as a failed chemotherapy drug was quickly approved as an HIV treatment, but did not work effectively. The problem with AZT is that it stops all cells from dividing, not just the ones that are infected. Every HIV/AIDS case is unique, and some drug combinations work for some people while they fail for others. Next, we will discuss the success of HIV treatment, and although AZT failed as a sole treatment for the disease, it's still used today for HIV treatment, but has since been reduced in dosage and is being mixed with other medicines to be effective. In 2012, the Body Corporation stated that the most effective treatment for HIV is a mixture of at least 3 drugs from 2 different classes of medication. Each class works differently, so that an HIV mutation that makes the virus resistant to one class won't make it resistant to another class. In total, there are now 6 classes of drugs that stop HIV from multiplying, and the most powerful to date with fewer side effects. Now I will tell you how this new discovery of early treatment works. In cases where a pregnant woman has HIV, both mother and baby are both given a standard dose of HIV drugs immediately. Once the baby is born and tests are run to ensure that whether the baby has the infection, if she does or if he does, the doctor makes the decision to begin with aggressive antiretroviral treatment. Ron Winslow from the Wall Street Journal reports that drugs prevented formation of so-called viral reservoirs that harbor the virus. This is key to cure because even though AIDS drugs stop HIV from replicating, the virus lurks in the reservoirs, ready to come surging back when treatment is stopped. Next, we will discuss another study of patients who were swiftly treated with HIV drugs and then stopped treatment and found no signs of the virus rebounding. A scientist in France followed 14 patients who were treated with antiretroviral drugs and stopped treatment to find that 7 years later, there was still no sign of the virus rebounding. As stated in the journal Pelos Pathogens, there is no cure for the infection, but being functionally cured is more of a short-term goal for patients. The reason this regimen of treatment is working to functionally cure those infected is solely because of the early detection and treatment. Combined With the drugs, the treatment for the infection has shown to be beneficial in all its patients. With better understanding of the latest breakthrough in a cure for HIV, we will now deliberate the health and political implications of the treatment. First, we will discuss that while this new breakthrough in curing HIV has been positive in its patients, it will only work if the virus is detected early on. With that being said, Maggie Fox, senior writer at NBC News, reports that it by no means is a cure for AIDS. The last and most severe stage of HIV is AIDS, and with the virus still being in the body, even with low levels kept at bay, there's always the chance of it flaring up again. Most people across the world know that there is no cure for the virus, but with the discovery of the new regimen, more are becoming aware of how big an issue it is to take all necessary precaution to either avoid catching the virus or detect it early on. This gives us hope that a cure is getting closer to being discovered. However, with the advancement in drugs to help keep the virus at low levels, one needs to have the virus detected as soon as possible. Without early detection, there is no functional cure. Symptoms can be subsided for short or long periods of time, but never gone completely. There is also the cost of healthcare and the means available to get the treatment. As reported in 2013 by Elizabeth Landon and Sandra Young of CNN News in an article titled, HIV may be functionally cured in some. In developing countries such as sub-Saharan Africa, healthcare is not as readily available as it is in more developed countries, such as the United States. Because of this, the advancements of a functional cure are not available in some countries, and the number of infected people continue to increase rapidly. Today we first examined what HIV and AIDS do and how we got to where we are in the treatment. Next, we analyzed how the treatment works before finally discussing the future drawbacks and benefits of the treatment for the AIDS epidemic. With science changing and growing every day, it has played the most important role in getting closer to finding a cure for HIV and AIDS. In the story of the baby girl in Mississippi, if it weren't for the tests administered right after birth, the virus would have gone undetected and could have led to numerous complications and hospital stays for the infant. There's only so much that science can do, though. It takes us to get out there and promote awareness on how important it is to take every measure possible to prevent the spreading of HIV and to get tested regularly. It only takes one person to make a difference, and it could end up saving someone's life.